Hey guys, this is Jamie Shahan. I have started a new business where I sell on Etsy, and the name of my business is called Teal Lollipops. And what I'm making currently are wreaths. What I'm going to do for you today is show you how to make a bow that goes on your wreaths. So, you know, a lot of little young kids these days, they know how to use the social media like crazy. And that's very challenging for me. But the one thing I do know how to do is I know how to push record on my iPhone after recording grandbabies for years. That's the one thing I do know how to do. So today, that's what I'm doing. I've just pushed record on this iPhone. I'm going to record this little tutorial. It's nothing fancy, but the bow is going to be quite pretty in the end. And if you don't know how to make a bow, you will by the end of this video. So I use the bowdabra. It's the first thing I bought. It's been tried and true for me, and so I haven't purchased any other type of bow making device yet. I plan on trying some others, but for now this one works great. So what you start out with is wire of some sort. This is a wrapped wire. I think it's 18 gauge. Yeah, it's 18 gauge. And so you take either this or some other floral wire, and you put it down this little slot here, and we're gonna just wrap it under to get it out of the way. So this is the ribbon that I've used on my wreath, and so this is the ribbon that I will be using in the bow. Okay, so I'm gonna start out, I've got two 1.5 inches of ribbon, and I've got two 2.5 inch ribbon. So I'm gonna start out with the 2.5 inch. And the first thing I'm going to do is dovetail these ends. I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Just make a little dovetail. So the first thing you have to know is this ribbon is not printed on both sides. So as you are making your bow, you want the printed side to be out, obviously. So you can't just willy-nilly put this in the bowdabra. You actually have to twist your ribbon so that your printed side is out. So right now I'm focusing on the tail. This is going to be the tail. So that's going to be, I'm going to twist it to where that's out. So I'm going to twist it right there. I'm going to slide it down in the slot. And the reason this is twisted to where the underside is up is because when I wrap it back around this direction, then the printed side will be on the outside of the loop. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to wrap that around. So these are going to be about 5-inch loops. So the center of my bowdabra is at this little ruler here. It's at the 15-inch mark. And so I will bring this loop out to the 20, and that'll make about a 5-inch loop. So that's about 5 inches there. So I'm going to take this part here, and it's going to need to be twisted. Straighten out these little edges. Let's do another 5-inch loop. Just kind of guesstimate it first. Yep, 5 inches. So I'm going to do 4 of these. So I'm going to twist it again. Now these I don't have to measure with the ruler. I can just measure with the loop underneath and twist it. So this will be the end of the loops for this particular ribbon. That matches up with that. So now I'm going to cut this off, and there's going to be a tail. This is where the tail is. So I'm going to go ahead and dovetail this. So to dovetail, what you do is fold this ribbon in half lengthwise. Start at the inside of the fold and cut toward the wire. All of this ribbon is wired ribbon. And just cut at an angle, 45 degrees, whatever. I've noticed that the longer this is, the more flimsy these edges will be. So you don't want to have just real long and skinny dovetails. You want them to be a little bit blunted so that they're firmer. So that's the first one. So let's take the second ribbon. I'm there's really no rule about how you have to do this. If there is, I don't know what it is. So I like to have what I think is the prettiest ribbon closer to the top, because I think that's what you see the most. To me, this is really pretty ribbon, and I want that up at the top. So I'm going to take this 1.5 inch ribbon and do it next. Now, some people like to do all their 2.5 inch ribbons first, and then their 1.5 inch ribbons next. I don't think it really matters. I've done it both ways, and I think they're both pretty. So I'm not really measuring this particular loop here, but I am comparing it to the loop underneath. It is almost the same size as the loop underneath. Another way to measure it, if you don't have a measuring ruler, is to push down in the center and pull up your loops, and they will line up pretty evenly. So I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to do 2 of these. Cut it, put that aside, make my dovetail, line up those edges. All right, next ribbon, I'm going to do this 2.5 inch ribbon. Love this ribbon. So here's my tail, twist it. Go down in that bowdabra. This one, so here's this underside. I'm gonna make these a little bit shorter than this ribbon that I just did. Okay, if you have to measure it, measure it. If you want them to all be 5 inches, then measure it to all be 5 inches. Or if you want them to all be even, you don't have to have a tool to measure, just make them all even with the one underneath it. I'm going to do 4 loops of these because I love this ribbon and I want more of this showing. Make that even with the one below it. Now, another thing that I do is as I'm putting this in the bowdabra, I like to take these edges and push them under so that they're folded inward or under. Let's make a tail. I should have gotten about 10 rows of this ribbon. I like it so much. Let's make the dovetail. All right, now, last one is this adorable butterfly ribbon. I still like this ribbon better, even though this one is going to be on top. I think I'm only going to do 2 loops of this, and I'm going to make it a little bit shorter than the last ribbon because I really want that last ribbon to stand out. Sorry if my arm is getting in the way. It's just the way I do it. All right, so I'm going to pull this up. I can already tell that, well, I may be wrong, but this side looks longer than this side. So I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to measure it. And it is just a little bit. So I'm going to pull this side out a little bit. Make it a little bit longer. Let's pull it up again and measure. Wow. Okay, still, I'm gonna make this a little shorter then. All right, that looks about right to me. I'll cut it off. Move that ribbon out of the way. Let's do the dovetail. Okay, so there's my stack of ribbon. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this wire that I folded under here. Now this is stiff wire, so I probably could have just lifted this whole thing up a little bit and shoved some wire underneath it, and that would have been fine too. I'm going to pull this wire up. We're going to pull this out, move this away. So it's really important to try your best to keep this ribbon in the stack that you have created in that slot. So I'm going to twist this couple of times. I'm holding this wire and I'm twisting the bow. And it can be hard to do sometimes, especially with wire that's coated like this. All right, so next we're gonna fluff it. So this is just a big piece of wood that my husband put together for me. I've got a little loop here, and then I've got a nail here. And so what you do is, this is not the right kind of loop, but it works for now. It's a closed loop. I really need a hook that has an open end that I can just slide this under. But since it's not open, that's okay. I'll just slide this through it. And then what I'm gonna do is attach this, wrap this around this nail, and that secures this in place. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start fluffing this ribbon. This is called a fluff box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with this pink. I'm gonna pull these up so you can see. So what we have 4 loops and 2 tails. So we're just gonna start with this tail. I'm gonna pull it up here. I'm gonna start with this tail, pull it down here. You can really pull on this ribbon. It's not gonna hurt it. I'm gonna take this loop, and I'm gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna twist it a little bit. Now where it's attached in the very center, sometimes the wire gets really bunched up. Try to loosen it up as much as you can. Now I'm gonna do this one. Maybe I'll come down here with this one. Seems to want to go that way. And I'll take this one right here. Fix that wire where it's attached in the center. And now we'll do this one. Pull it. You don't have to worry about it. And it's just ribbon. If you mess it up, you pull it out and you start all over. Okay, now we're going to do the next ribbon, which is this 1.5 inch stripe that coordinates with it. So I've got the 2 tails going this direction, so I'll have the 2 loops going here. And I don't have it very tight. It seems to be pulling, but that's okay. I will tighten this bow down more. So here's the really pretty ribbon that I love. I think I'll pull this tail down here. Start working on these loops. Where did that other tail? There it is. Really get in there and pull it, twist it, free up those centers where it's attached. Now I like my colors, my ribbon loops kind of separated. So I've got 4 and they're fanned out in each direction. And then I've got the tail. Again, where did that tail go? Oh, it's right there. 2 tails, 4 loops. And then here's 2 tails and 2 loops. Now I like to try to arrange them where I could see a little bit of each ribbon. And that's pretty much it so far. So I'll take it off of this fluff box. And there's our bow. And once this gets attached to the wreath, it's beautiful. It's as pretty as can be. That's it. I don't know how long that took me. It wasn't very long. Pretty simple, pretty inexpensive. Anybody can do it. You don't have to have a fluff box. You can take this out and hold it in your hand and fluff it. But I've discovered that the fluff box is wonderful. Makes it a lot easier. That's it. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please like it and share it. I'm also going to be starting a YouTube channel, and there will be more of this stuff on the YouTube channel. And thank you for watching. Appreciate your time. Bye.